This drinker will cost you £50 if you go out and buy one. This drinker is completely free. Let me show you how to make it. Hello, welcome to English Country Life. Welcome to the garden, welcome to make your own chicken drinkers. My name's Hugh and today I want to look at chicken drinkers, and we're going to look over time at a number of different ways of making your own, but today I want to concentrate on a simple one. Now, chicken drinkers come in all sorts of sizes. We use these large ones a lot when we've got a lot of grown birds at the moment, but they're also great if you've got quite a few laying birds, because obviously laying birds need plenty of liquid because the eggs contain a great deal of liquid, so they get through a lot of water. We also have a lot of these, the sort of standard size ones, and these we use a lot in with a broody hen when she's sat on eggs, so that she's got access to water all the time. Often when hens are brooding, it's hot and it's great to give them immediate access to water. And we even have a few of these tiny little drinkers, and you might think that's too small to be useful, but if you've got a tiny day-old chick under a brooder, it still needs access to water, but you don't want anything it can fall into when it's a bit unsteady on its feet. So something small and delicate is great. So if you're doing a lot of different things with your chickens and breeding and rearing, etc., you need a lot of different drinkers, but that can get expensive. So today we're going to look at making something like this. It works the same way as these drinkers, but it's homemade and it's free. So let's look at how to make a chicken drinker, how they work, how to put one together. Let's look at how a standard plastic drinker works then. It's a two-part device with a water reservoir in white and a drinking area in red. When the chickens drink some of the water, there's a slot between the two, like a hole, that allows water to run from the water reservoir into the drinking area, but only until the water rises far enough to cover that slot, and then no more water will run out until more water leaves the drinking area. That raises an important point. If by any chance you put these drinkers on a slope for any reason, and even a little bit of water can run out, or on a windy day where water can be blown out, water will run continuously from the reservoir into the drinking area. So it's important to have a bit of a gap between the rim of the drinking area and the level of the water. Otherwise, it's extremely likely that the drinker will just empty itself. Now, to fill them is a bit of a game. You have to take the base off, turn the reservoir upside down and fill it with water. Normally with a hose, not with a jug. But, you know, it's a little bit of a juggling act because they're quite unstable when upside down. You can get them to stand, and then you have to grab the reservoir with one hand and twist the base on with the other hand. And then the last bit, you have to turn it over quickly. Some water inevitably falls out and wets your shoes. And then water will run from the reservoir into the drinking area, leaving you with a sort of 4/5 full reservoir, which I always find a little bit frustrating. These are the materials you're going to need to make your drinker. You'll need a plastic tub to form the drinking area and a plastic bottle to form the reservoir. They can be any size you like, from large to tiny for chicks. One thing that is important though is to give the bottle a squeeze. Make sure it's airtight. If air can sneak into your bottle, then the reservoir will run continuously, not just until the levels have equalised. Once you've selected your components, what you need to do is take the lid off your tub, put your bottle in and mark where the rim of the drinking area comes against the bottle. That's the maximum height that water can be without flowing down the sides of the drinking area. But for the reasons we said earlier, we're actually going to put our hole quite a bit below that to allow it to be not quite level and to cope with windy days. On a big drinker like this, I'm going to put the hole about 2 centimetres below that line, maybe an inch below that line. On a tiny one for chicks with a more shallow reservoir, obviously I'd make that difference smaller. That'll be right for this big chunky drinker. I'm going to put the hole in using a drill, but honestly you can poke it with a skewer, you can use a bit of hot wire to melt it, anything to make a hole. I start small. This is a 5mm hole, and I'm probably going to have to make it bigger before the project's out, but it's easy to make it bigger and hard to make it smaller. Once I've done that, what I'm going to do is use a hot glue gun to attach the bottle to the tub. It doesn't have to be a hot glue gun. If you haven't got one, you could use 2-part epoxy. Any waterproof glue will do to attach one thing to the other. And don't worry about the temperature of a hot glue gun. It's not hot enough to melt the plastic. Once I put a few blobs on the contact area, I'm going to put the bottle into the tub, give it a good press down and make sure I've got good contact between the two areas, and let it cool. Once it's cooled, then I'm absolutely certain that the two will be fully stuck together. Give it a good shake to be sure. I really like this design because you've got a little handle which makes carrying the drinker around handy. Then all I've got to do, take the lid off and fill from the top, and that's why I like this design. Once the thing is full, the drinking area and the reservoir are completely full without having to juggle. Here you can see the reservoir filling the drinking area. Little air bubbles rising. Now, if you want a faster flow from the reservoir into the drinking area, widen the hole. This has actually ended up as a 7mm hole, but I could put a 10mm hole in and I'd get a faster flow. And look now, no more air bubbles rising because the water level has covered the hole. That's a handy dandy little drinker. Got a handle to carry it with. You can fill it at the tap through the top. I really like the design. Honestly, I think it's such a simple thing. It uses material that would have just otherwise been thrown away. Doesn't have to be that particular size or that particular shape. You can make them out of pop bottles and ice cream tubs. This, I think, had concentrated grape juice in it for a wine kit, and a seed tray, or a yogurt pot and a small smoothie bottle to make something suitable for a chick. You really can make any size, any shape, any type, and by varying where you put that hole, you can even adjust the depth of water, which for chicks particularly can be very useful to make sure they don't fall in and drown. Great little technique, really like them. We have got other drinkers that we can make that we can show you if you'd like to see them. For example, we've got one that you can fit to a water butt to give almost a permanent water supply. We've also got other kinds of feeders. We've got one that you can put together so that it feeds chicks inside a run, or chickens inside a run, while you are outside the run. So you don't have to grovel into a chicken run in order to fill it up. If you'd like to see those kind of things, please let us know in the comments and we'll make them for you. It's no problem at all. If you've enjoyed today's video, it'd be great if while you're down there you could spare us 5 seconds and give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see all the other videos that we make, just whack on the subscribe button, hit the bell next to it, and you'll hit every time we upload new content. But whatever you do, come back and see us soon. Take care.